Good morning. I'm Lisa Bottoms, Executive Director of NAMC, Northern Ohio Chapter. I will be your MC today. We're so excited to have you join us for our 5th Level Up session, Contracting with Government Entities. What do you need to know? I want to first thank our platinum sponsors for today's session, Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority, Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, First Energy Foundation, and to Low Key Entertainment for providing technical assistance for this session. Today we will discuss contracting with government entities, what do you need to know, and why this is important. And then we will have an esteemed set of panelists to discuss strategies on how to get government contracts. So before we get started, let's talk about NAMC. NAMC stands for the National Association of Minority Contractors. NAMC is the oldest minority construction trade association in the United States. NAMC Northern Ohio Chapter is one of 21 local chapters. Our main objective is to bring diversity and inclusion to the forefront of the construction industry in Cleveland, Toledo, Akron, Canton, Youngstown, and Warren. NAMC Northern Ohio's chapter mission is to provide access to opportunities, advocacy, and contractor development training. NAMC Northern Ohio Chapter works in collaboration with our corporate, community, and public partners. Please consider joining NAMC Northern Ohio Chapter. You'll get the information on the latest construction jobs, training, and advocacy positions that impact minority businesses. We also would like to thank our corporate partner members, Whiting Turner, Gilbane, Turner Construction, Metro Health, Key Bank, and First National Bank. We are looking for additional corporate partners as well. So if you would like to join us, please contact us through our website. Now, let's set the stage. NAMC's Level Up program is one of our 4 core programs that assist members, both union and non-union, with building capacity. Each of our NAMC Northern Ohio Chapter board members is responsible for planning a Level Up session. Today's session, Contracting with Government Entities, What Do You Need to Know, was created by Keith Rogers. Keith grew up following the lead of his grandfather, Richard Rogers, former owner and president of Cook Paving. In construction, all of his life, Keith got his formal start 20 years ago as a warehouse runner and worked his way up through the ranks. Keith has now been a part of the ownership team as executive vice president for more than 5 years. The company started its growth by offering asphalt paving services and was able to launch into most civil construction crafts, including underground utility installation, site development, and concrete paving. Cook Paving and Construction has enjoyed a very rich contracting history throughout Northeast Ohio, including being the first MBE certified company to win a prime construction contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation. Paving the way for the track at Jacobsville, now Progressive Field, and building the Lake Road substation expansion for Cleveland Public Power. In this month's Level Up session, we discuss how the strategies can be used to bridge the gap between government agencies and minority contractors to create win-win scenarios and opportunities. So let's get started. Welcome, Keith.
Lisa.
So Keith, tell me, what's involved in the concept of contracting with government entities, and why is this important for business owners to consider?
I believe it's being in the know, knowing where your opportunities lie. I mean, the public arena is a lot different from private entities, private arenas. I mean, there's a lot of information to offer. I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge. I mean, you name it, you can go a long way. You know, public utilities. You got your housing. I mean, everything that make up the landscape of living is part of the public, and quite obviously it needs construction and building.
So Keith, tell me, what key business components did your company have to put in place in order to do business with government entities?
Oh, wow. Well, obviously people, financing. I mean, the key cores of keeping the business, operating to run a business. I mean, whether you're doing public work or private work, you still have to have the key components of running a business to do business.
So tell me, how did you start? What were some things you put into place in order to be eligible for these government contracts?
Well, first and foremost, Cook Paving has been in business over 70+ years. I'm a third generation owner. Myself and Linda Fletcher. She couldn't make it today, but she's probably watching. Just over the years, just keeping everything glued together. I mean, you know, just now we're starting to see an uprise in opportunities, because before it wasn't this easy. I mean, it's still hard now, but it's getting better.
Did you have to get some certifications? Did you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the certification processes, they're getting easier, but in the past they were very difficult, and a lot of people that I know, contractors, whatever, they get discouraged. They get discouraged from the processes that they got to go through. It's just sometimes not worth their time, but you know, if you can hang in there and do good business, I mean, that's probably worth your while.
So did you have someone help you do your certifications, or did you?
At first, no, but you know, eventually as the certification processes evolved, the organizations had nice processes and, you know, stepping stones to get you there, so.
Did you have any kind of project management software or accounting software that you
Yes.
used?
Yes, we
Talk
use,
a little bit about that.
I mean, you know, I recommend using Foundation software. It's a great accounting software for construction. We use Heavy Bid, ACSS for bidding components. I mean, you know, it's a tough business to get involved, but you can easily learn. Over the years, it took some time, you know, to get in the public arena. It's not easy, but it's definitely worth your while.
So Keith, did you have to, did you partner with anyone, or was there any kind of a mentor? I know your dad was probably very instrumental, and your grandfather very instrumental in that. But what would you tell a new company that maybe doesn't have that depth of knowledge, how to prepare themselves to get these government contracts?
You know, get as much knowledge you can get. I mean, go to school, take classes, learn the industry. I mean, just don't say you want to do business and not know the business. I mean, you got to be financially. I mean, it's going to be a struggle, but you got to keep, you know, prove yourself to banks. I mean, prove yourself to cities. You know, take some of the smaller jobs first, get good at those, and then go from there.
Wow, you said something really important about don't necessarily go for that $10 million job.
Don't do it.
Start maybe with the $5,000 or the $10,000 or $20,000 job, and work your way up, building experience over time.
I mean, our last session was being bankable, and being bondable. I mean, it all cores into where you're at today. I mean.
So did you have a relationship with a bank to
Yes.
help you become government ready?
Yes.
And so what kinds of things did you go after with that bank?
Well, they, you know, had programs that you sit in for 12 weeks. You have to go through but it's educational purposes to learn how to balance your balance sheet, to know your income statements. Because these are all the questions the public, you know, entity is going to ask. We don't want to see that. They want to see if you're, you know, if you're running a good, legitimate business.
Rather you're doing a hobby or a real business, right?
Yes.
Right. And so before we get ready to go into our interview with Arian and Ron Todd, can you, what is the most important thing you would suggest to people out there that are looking to getting a contract?
I would suggest, you know, joining NAMC, giving myself a call, partnering up, you know, look for mentorship. You know, there's programs out there. I know ODOT has a mentor protege program that I was a part of years ago. It's a wealth of knowledge that's out here in the public arena.
So basically you're saying you don't have to do this alone. To find partners, whether it's in building capacity, whether it's trying to get additional dollars, rather it's partnering with bigger companies or companies your size, you come together so that you can double your capacity.
Yes. That's why I'm here. I mean, we all came together some kind of way, and we're doing great things. So, I mean, this is to be grown.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Arian and Ron Todd, who are gonna give us our Foundation Spotlight interview.
Today, our session, our level up session is contracting with government entities. How can you go about doing that? And today we have a very special guest. We have Ronald Todd, who is the minority liaison for Governor DeWine from the state of Ohio. I am happy I had the opportunity to meet Ron Todd about 3-4 years ago, right when I think on his first week. And he actually called me about a business endeavor. And I remember I was sick at that time. I don't know if he remembers. I was actually in the hospital. He called me to introduce himself, let me know who he was. And he also gave me a little prayer. I'm not sure if a lot of people know that Ron Todd is also a pastor. So he gave me a lot of advice, a lot of prayer, and we've had and enjoyed a very good relationship. He is a business owner. He is also a past athlete. He's been a sports agent, a consulting business. He is a man of many hats. And so I'm excited to bring him to you so he can tell us about doing business with the state of Ohio. But first, what it was like being a business owner and how he got in the role he is in today.
Thank you so much, my sister Ariane. You know, it's an honor and privilege. I'm thinking now about my late grandfather, Prilly Z. Wright, who was an electrical contractor and who was a one-person shop, and my late dad, Ronald C. Todd Sr., who was electrical contractor, and how I grew up around contractors my whole life. But they told me way back when, you're going to be big, you better go to school and play some football because you can't do this kind of work. So, but I have a epiphany for that. Being a business owner at the time really is in my blood. That's all I knew. I knew that I had to grab and myself by whatever straps I had and go make it happen. I know that I was taught that it was not going to be easy for me and that it might take me longer, but if I still keep pushing, I can make it happen. And so I decided, growing up as a kid, I was like, I'm going to go work for someone else. I don't want the pressure of what my late dad and my late grandfather went through. As a, African-American man, both men owning their businesses, it was tough. Many days I hear my dad upset about things getting messed up. And so with my role now working for the governor's office as a minority affairs liaison, I bring something different because I grew up in that life. Plus I was, a business owner too for many years, worked for myself. So if I didn't hunt it, I didn't eat it. So it was a whole different type of mentality you have to have. But I learned from that this is all about the relationship. If you don't have the right type of relationships, then your business won't flourish. And a lot of times as business owners, we so busy working in our business, not working on our business. But when you're trying to feed your family, it's like a balance. So you have to, change your mindset and be very candid. I was more of trying to work in my business than work on my business. But then as I got older and more experienced, I realized the ones who are the most successful are the ones who work on their business and not much being inside because you can't see everything. So it just, again, it's so much to go into it. And I love business owners. As Ariane know, I know, but anybody that's in business for themselves, if they don't know Jesus, then they'll have some problems. Trust me. If you didn't know Jesus before, you're going to know him while you're in business. So anyway, but thank you so much for inviting me on.
Okay. And I was actually saving this, but I'm going to read a quote that I read about you, and it's just appropriate about you bringing up Jesus and faith. You said, I'm a testament to having faith and having patience. You have to believe in the American dream. The American dream is real. I know right now it seems cloudy, but I'm a testimony that it does work. Very profound words. Tell me what that means to you.
Wow. Did I say that? Well,
Yes,
Lord,
you
where'd you find out that, Ariana, where we saying that? And it's true. I think in today's society, in the state of Ohio, folks don't have hope. And media says, well, you can't get this because you look this way. You can't get this because you can't get, no, you can get it. You just got to find a way to do it. There's a preacher named Joe Osteen, and Joe Osteen talks about go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And don't be dealing with folks who don't just tolerate you. If nothing's gonna happen, you gotta know how to get out of that situation. There are people out there that want to work with you, but you gotta find them. You can't be sitting in your little shell. Oh, nobody want, no. People gotta know who you are. That means that you gotta work more hours. That means you gotta go to, I know it was tough during pandemic. You got to go to meetings. You got to be there. I know why I'm not getting paid, but listen, you will get paid for it. You got to plant seeds. You never know the relationship. You meet somebody at one meeting, how that's going to come in effect for you. You, as business owners, see, this is what faith is. Faith is not walking by sight. Faith is walking by a vision. Having a vision, that's what you do. If you walking by the sight, you walking, you blind. But you got to be having a vision about where you want to go and speak that in the atmosphere. Second thing is you got to get around like-minded people. That's why the National Association of Minority Contractors, if you're not involved in it, it's shame on you. Because you're going to see people in there who are successful, that will give you some tidbits so you don't have to go through what they went through. But you got to humble yourself, though, and not come in thinking that you know everything. See, having your own business, one thing it does, it humbles you. Because when you first start out, you're going to get knocked down many, many times. But the key, though, especially with I look at National Association of Minority Contractors, it's a place where people can be like the Vegas room. You can tell people stuff there that you can't tell even your spouse. Somebody that can understand you, that understand what you go through every day. You need that. You can't keep that stuff bottom side of you. So yes, I did say that quote. Yes, as a minority business, African-American business, a brown business, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be difficult. Yes, it is. But there have been many folks. I think about the Herman J. Russell construction in Atlanta. How now they're on the second, going on third generation ownership. That's what we want to have. We don't just want to have it, keep it here and be done with. We want to make sure that we can make sure that it transcends generation to generation to generation. That's a real business. Not just saying, well, I made $1 million. So what else is left? What you gonna do with that? I'm sorry, Ariana, I go on the tangent. I get fired up.
I mean, and it's exciting. I'm glad you brought up the purpose of NAMC, because it is an organization that concentrates on the barriers and so a lot of the racial barriers, and it preaches advocacy and education for minority contractors that typically when we go to other industry specific things, which are important, very important, but some of those things that they don't understand are the things that we are going through in order to get to that next step. So that is the importance, because like-minded people that are successful, that have those issues, because maybe a majority contractor might not have that same issue as far as going to a bank and getting that financing, or how to go about doing talent acquisition or different things like that. So I really appreciate you giving that shout out of why you should be a member of NAMC. Today, interestingly, I was on a call where they talked about in 1981, when the Cleveland Growth Roundtable came about, 1981, some of the racial barriers for small businesses. And unfortunately, some of those barriers are still around. You were appointed by Governor DeWine for this particular role for minority business liaison. What do you all see differently on how to help minority businesses succeed?
That's a great question. And you talking about 1981, you're talking about, almost 40 something years ago, right? The same stuff. If we go back in 71, 61.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a couple of businesses have done well. So say if you live in Atlanta, Georgia, and you was working during the time that Mayor Jackson was the mayor of Atlanta, he made sure you're gonna do 30%. You're gonna do, if you don't, you ain't getting the contract. I think a couple of things that what I want to do is that, and I remember we go back to scale.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, okay, I'm certified, I'm MBE. But then the first thing I ask you, your scale, what's your capability? Do you even have a capability statement? So that's why I think the mentor-mentee thing really would help. Because you can't do these contracts all by yourself. Mm-hmm. But you have to be willing. Now, a lot of times when you're a business owner, a lot of times we have egos. But what's ego? Edge and got out. That's all ego is, really. But the thing is that you got to be able to work. So I want to have more folks. And say if you in the plumbing business, I just give an example, plumbing. Why can't you team up and go after a contract? Right now, you've been getting a lot of 100% of nothing. I say it again, 100% of nothing. And also, too, don't depend on these state contracts to live off of. You will die. You have to have your low-hanging fruit to build your business up, and then you start rising up. A lot of times, business owners, and I can say it because I was one for many years and grew up in it, we're thinking, I want the big bucks. I'm my own boss. I want to do this. I want it. No, it takes time. It's stair steps. You got to take baby steps there. So you might not get that contract over here for the state contract, but there are plenty of residential contracts you can get that you can start about and build your business and save money, which a lot of times most business owners, we don't, because we're so busy robbing Peter to pay Paul. But I'm an advocate of making sure that folks get to know each other. Second thing is, and really this last year pandemic really messed up. I wanted to get the majority business owners, the majority contractors in the room with the minority contractors. So they know that there are capable people out there to get things done. So it'd be a win-win situation. Understand, it's all down to business. It's not personal. So if there's a contract here and they're saying, well, okay, let's team together on some things, but that takes time. I want to help to be that deliverer, be the bridge and be the connector where you meet that. Now, I was working on starting, but then March, pandemic happened. So they got really messed up. So now I got to really start in July. I got to start really getting out here, get back on the road again and do those things. So I'm in plans now with my team to get out, to start making the majority. That's big for me. The majority companies and minority companies getting together. And why not having a meeting set up and have a meeting with the National Center of Minority Contractors, make sure that you are like working with that, meeting with these majority contract associations out there and getting this stuff done. Because I don't know when it's going to happen.
So especially in our industry, construction, and you brought it up a little bit about percentages. We see percentages and quotas that are required, especially on construction projects. And we know that programs like the MBE and the EDGE program, and thank you to you and your team for making some changes in that EDGE program. Yourself and Eric Seabrook has been very beneficial for us contractors. And we really had a voice at the table, and we were able to come to the state and talk about it. But really, sometimes what happens is, while these programs are good, sometimes they can be crippling. And what happens is people unfortunately make their business on those quotas or on those acronyms. and think that they're an MBE company rather than a construction company.
That's right.
So we're not sustainable. What do you say about that? And how can we help companies not put themselves in position to just be a quota filler and just be and to be a builder? What are some of your thoughts on that?
And that's a great point, Ariane. Thank you for bringing that point out. Yeah. I've seen the worst things happen to people that they got a couple contracts being MBE or being Edge, and they made some money, so they would buy some things, they would buy nice things, they would take the families to a nice trip, they might even be able to take their kids go to private schools. But they don't understand that it's all about planning. This was not designed for you to stay here all your business career. This is be able for you to get a start and start to build. But that's all about strategic planning. That's all about not working in your business, but working on your own business. And this is something that has to be in your heart. That I want to, I just don't want to depend on this. Why can I be the general contractor? What does it take for me to be the general contractor? Mm-hmm. What makes them so I can hire folks, so I can pick and choose, or I can put out RFPs on stuff? I'm working with that, so why can I do that? Why I got to be the one always, well, let me see how much set aside is.
Right.
Let me look and see here. Let me call. No, you want to get changed that. And we got models. I say the Herman Russell construction HR. I mean, that's a model that I like. I watched him from afar, and it's too bad that Black Enterprise is not on print like it used to. It's all on. It's okay, but I used to watch that and just read about that as a kid. I'm like, man, this stuff is possible. Mm-hmm. And the problem is a lot of times folks don't think it's possible. They don't think they can really do it. They don't imagine, well, I got it. But no, you can. You can do that. And so we got to change the mentality with the folks. But that takes the National Association of Minority Contractors talking about that. There's some successful members in this group. I know who you are, and y'all doing good business. Y'all revenue's good too. Y'all doing good. I be reading that Cleveland, the top 100 business stuff and all that. I see what you're doing, and so you gotta talk about it, and it's okay to talk about being successful. That's the problem. We don't nobody know what we got. I'm just trying to make it. No, I hate that. I'm just trying to make. You got all the money. No, what are you talking about? We gotta change and shift our mindset. We gotta shift that thing.
Oh, I like that. I mean, it's funny because whenever we catch up, we get on a conversation for about a half an hour. You keep it real, I keep it real. And we're just talking about how, as Black and brown businesses, how we can succeed. And I love that you've been in business for years so that you can understand the plight that we're going through. And unfortunately, the COVID did happen. The pandemic did happen. I know you're excited to get back. We had talked about the Construction Advisory Committee that the state of Ohio is going to have under Governor Kasich. And I believe I talked about it with Governor DeWine, and he was open to it. So we're looking forward to being a part of that or helping you get it off the ground. We're knock this pandemic out the way, and we're ready to get back to business. I just want to thank you so much. Is there any last things that you want to say? Any bits of advice?
Yeah. And first I want to encourage everyone today who hear the sound of my voice is that, Black and brown people, we've been through worse. Do not get it that we've been through worse. This pandemic, we had to use this as a way of learning new skills. Personally, I never got on Zoom before pandemic. Yeah, well, I did for my fraternity. But besides that, I never had no Teams call. And I didn't think I was the first month, I was like, I'm going to meet with people. I need to be on the road. God said, no, you're going to still do it as a way. So now we can use our our monies and our expenses a little better. I don't have to be able to travel all over like I used to all the time. And that for business too. You got to now decide you can get more things. I'm getting more things done now because I'm not able to travel. So think about that. So now we have different ways of doing business. Second thing is, do not let no one discourage you for doing what God is putting to you to do. But you got to get around the right people that can keep encouraging you to do that. And that's why I believe the National Association of Minority Contractors for that, at me in my role with the governor, Governor DeWine says this: I'm the governor for every constituent state of Ohio. And he really means that. Throw away parties, throw away the party situation. He really means that. So we need the input from each and every one of you. Teamwork makes the dream work, but we all got to come together and understand that you have a friend in the governor's office, Ronald Todd. Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you again for being an advocate for all businesses.
Thank you.
All right.
5.
Wow, that was a pleasure listening to such insightful information from Ron Todd. He is the governor's Minority Affairs Liaison and works on initiatives in areas such as minority business development, economic development, K through 12 educational establishment and colleges, faith-based initiatives, and government accessibility. And we also would like to thank our NAMC president, Arian Kirkpatrick. Arian is the president of the AKA team, a construction company that specializes in construction management, commercial cleaning, and waterproofing services. Now that we've set the stage, it's now time to turn it over to Chris and the Contracting with Government Entities panel to talk about strategies and nuggets that you can take away to doing business with the government.
Great, thank you, Lisa, for that fine introduction. My name is Chris House, and I will be your moderator for today. And I want to thank this esteemed panel for really sharing their time, talent, and treasure to hopefully spread some wealthy nuggets to our studio audience and to the listening audience outside. And so, first, I'd like to introduce to you Lisa Washington. Lisa, who serves as the Northwest Regional Outreach Manager for the Office of Outreach within the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion for the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT. Her outreach efforts concentrate on promoting opportunities with ODOT with a focus on connecting with minority, women, small and disadvantaged business enterprises, DBE firms. Her outreach includes ODOT Districts 1, 2, and 3. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
Next, we have Carl Kirkland Jr., MBA, CA, MCA, EC, MCA. That's a lot of initials there. Thank you, Carl. Carl is Director of Business Development and Contract Compliance at the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority, where he provides contract compliance, FTA monitoring and reporting, minority goal setting, and outreach awareness for the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, DBE. His duties include contract compliance, FTA, monitoring, and reporting to ensure the DBE contract requirements are communicated to all necessary parties properly, including in contract documents, contract terms, and conditions are met to establish DBE participation goals on contracts exceeding $25,000. Welcome, Carl. Next, we have Lenora M. Lockett. Lenora is currently the Director of the Office of Procurement and Diversity for Cuyahoga County. The Office of Procurement and Diversity, OPD, is a division of the fiscal office which is under the authority of the Cuyahoga County Executive. OPD's mission is to serve its internal and external clients by providing cost-effective and efficient procurement of goods and services and promoting equal economic opportunity. OPD administers Cuyahoga County's diversity programs, SBE, MBE, and WBE, related to purchasing and contracting. She is passionate about diversity and believes that equity, diversity, and inclusion are critical characteristics of thriving communities. Welcome, Lenora. Next we have Tiffany Jordan. Tiffany is the Contract Compliance Manager for the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Ms. Jordan's department is accountable for implementing, monitoring, reporting, and tracking millions of dollars awarded to prime contractors for sewer district contracts. Most recently, Ms. Jordan's accomplishments at the sewer district include designing, expanding, and gaining the approval from the Board of Trustees to implement the Business Opportunity Program, or BOP, which provides economic benefit for the region and to help local, minority, and women companies grow. Ms. Jordan has over 21 years of experience in the areas of purchasing and contract compliance. Ms. Jordan was Manager of Contract Compliance for the Cuyahoga County Board of Commissioners prior to joining the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Ms. Jordan has her master's certification in Contract Administration, MCA, from Morgan State University. Thank you, Tiffany. Next we have, and last, is Keith Rogers. And you heard Keith's bio and understood the reason why Keith, as a NAMC board member, brought this esteemed panel together. Keith is Executive Vice President and part owner of Cook Paving. Thank you, Keith, for bringing this this panel together for us. Thank you. So let's get to the questions. All right, and truly, you know, everyone should know that this is not meant to be interrogation. This is a discussion. This is a conversation, and we really want you to relax and share. You know, it's just us. You know, forget about the thousands of people in the studio audience. Okay. All right. Okay. So, and feel free as you want to jump in. Feel free to just answer the question or pass. Right. So the first question we want to have is, tell us about yourself, your organization, and why the topic of contracting with government entities, what do you need to know, is important to you. Carl, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. Well, a little bit about myself. I just have a passion for the DBE, Disparity Business Enterprise Program. Part of it is, that's like the in the passion, we want to be sure we executing and making sure that the contractors are available to some of our subcontractors and if possible to become prime contractors. So my organization, there's 3 areas of procurement, and that is the construction, the professional services, and the fleet area, which we always make sure that the community are aware that we are not just a bus company. We are construction, we have fleet, when we deal with bus components, parts, etc., and we deal with professional services, i.e. consulting services pertaining to HR, etc. So we want to make sure that that is readily available and the community know that we are steadfast. So, and what do you need to know? What is important? What is important is we always make sure that our the community know to attend our pre-bid meetings. It's crucial to attend our pre-bid meetings because that is where information is communicated. That is where my team actually provides, asks a contractor to provide, i.e. primarily DBE, to provide an overview how you can perform in the scope of this procurement. And that gives you opportunity to meet some of the prime contractors around the table. So they will, and in most cases, they'll get your information and they won't have to go and search to look for a subcontractor to participate on this project.
All right, thank you, Carol. Correct. Tiffany?
Okay, before we go any further, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Keith and Lisa for inviting me here today. And along with my colleagues, some of them I have not seen in quite some time. So it's been a great honor to catch up, and thank you so much for inviting me. You did an awesome job, Chris, of explaining our bio and our background, so I think the audience got a very good idea of who we are and what we do. One of the things that I like to say as it relates to myself personally is that I had the great opportunity to work with Cuyahoga County. In Cuyahoga County, that was kind of like procuring goods and services, professional services, and things of that nature. It was a little bit of construction as well. At the sewer district, it's a totally different animal. When I went over to the sewer district, it was a learning curve for me. I had to learn about underground tunneling, just all kinds of stuff. But that was great for me and allowed me to grow and learn as a person. But not only that, the reason why that's important for me is because when I talk to small businesses, sometimes they'll come to me and they'll say, hey, Tiffany, can I come get certified at the regional sewer district? And I'm like, well, no, I don't think that's a good fit for you. I think a better fit would be for you to go to Cuyahoga County and go to the regional sewer district or something like that. That would be a better fit for you and your company. Because the one thing that small businesses don't have is a lot of time.
Sure.
And so the one thing I don't want to do is waste their time. So I want to take them to the best organization that's the best fit for them. And if they can work well with the sewer district, which is an underground utility, I'll be more than happy to work with them as well. But I am very grateful for the privileges and the knowledge that I've received working with Cuyahoga County. And I worked with Lenora for a brief period, but I definitely enjoyed my time with her.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. All right, look, thank you, Tiffany. Laura?
Thank you again. Similar to what Tiffany said, thank you for the opportunity. It's my first time at an in-person event.
Okay.
This is great. Similar to what Tiffany said, we understand that businesses have to be very strategic of how they spend their time because they're about generating revenue, and a lot of them are, if you're a small business, you don't have the luxury of a lot of staff to, you need to get a return on your time. With Cuyahoga County, we do provide and buy a wealth of items from the sheriff's departments to roads and bridges to ME, medical examiners. So there's a variety of goods and services that we are buying. So there are a wider audience of businesses that might find opportunities with Cuyahoga County. I would say we recognize, and I personally, that's why I'm here with the county, in addition to just earning a living, is the fact that I can do my passion, which is to make sure that the community that I live in and was born and raised in leverages the resources that we're paying as taxpayers and make sure that the companies and businesses that are invested in Cuyahoga County have an opportunity to participate in that system. But it does take time. It is overwhelming because there are 30 plus departments. How do you figure out which business, which opportunities are available for your company? It takes a lot of time and investment. So I would say that's the biggest thing is don't get frustrated. Keep asking the questions. Keep making people respond. And unfortunately, you might get passed around to different people, but keep going.
All right, that's some great food for thought. Thanks, Lenora. And Keith, I know we already had conversation. Did you have anything to say? Or?
Well, yes, I do.
Okay.
Since we got the panel up here, I mean, obviously,
Sure.
this is my topic today, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna be frankly honest, without the panel and the public arena, I wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I have several contracts with each entity, including City of Cleveland, DAS, Edge, that's not here today. It's very important. I mean, our business, relies on government entity work, so
Yeah.
it's huge.
It's very interesting. So as you were going through the bio earlier with Lisa, and I think I shared this with you before, Keith, I was on a committee with your grandfather in Cozy.
Yes.
Man, I think I was probably about 10 back then. And so, but I remember how hardworking he was and strategic he was. So it is great to see you and your other siblings and family keep that legacy going, that generation. That's kind of what we really hope for, right? We're just not one-trick pony, that we can pass this on to our legacy. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Lisa?
Thank you, and I will echo what all the other panel members have said. I am with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT. Many of you know us. We are the state highway transportation system. We take care of the roads, bridges, and highways. We take care of what we have. We make it easy for people to move from place to place. Along with that, and really why I'm here today, is that about 2015, ODOT had a reconciliation agreement with Federal Highway that there was disparity with African American and Hispanic firms, not necessarily through anything that ODOT had done. So with that being said, there were some changes that were being made at ODOT. First of all, there was the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion that was created in 2015. Within that division, the Office of Outreach was a new office that was created. The Office of Outreach was created to get out and talk with the small businesses so they could understand how to do business with ODOT, to talk to firms that wanted to become DBE certified, or the DBE firms that needed someone to speak to. So I am part of the Office of Outreach. And I would just say for small businesses, an informed business can make a better choice. So as a small business, you must be able to try to gather information that will assist your business. So many businesses will operate on what someone has told them. And perhaps it might be good for one business, but it might not be good for yours.
Yes, absolutely. It's I don't want to say it's the lazy approach, but it's not a one size fits all, right? And I think each company, each industry, each category is different. So thank you for that. So while you are in the mood to speak here, the next question is why should a minority business become a certified minority and or women-owned business, and what are the benefits? And before you begin, this is why I wanted to start with you, because I was new, maybe back in 2016, I think is when I was ready to start my certification process. Before I was like, I don't need that stuff, right? And so something clicked. I don't know if I was at a meeting or a webinar or something, but they said you need to get certified as a business. And so I remember going through and filling out some certifications all the way up until I got to ODOT. And that RTA certification. That's a tough certification. And I had halfway filled it out. And then at the time, I think Maria was our rep. And she called me, she's like, why didn't you finish filling out the application? I said, look, they want the firstborn, they want they want some blood type, they want all these things. No, thank you. And so Maria says, you know what? Stop it. I'm coming to your office and we're gonna fill out this thing. And she really, we filled it out together, and I haven't looked back since. And so, no, Maria's no longer with you, but can you tell us, Lisa, just, you don't have to tell us that story, but why should people become certified, and what's the advantages, right?
First of all, I'm going to repeat what I earlier said about an informed business owner.
Sure.
Businesses need to understand the certifications and what the certification can do for them. A lot of times people will get every certification they can think of and not understand if it's applicable to their business or if they can even use that certification. The benefits of being certified means that now you are in a quote-unquote set-aside pool that says I am, whether it's WBE, DBE, SBE, whatever. Meaning that there are some opportunities specifically for that certified designation. On the federal side, if you look at Hub Zone or things like that, there are, again, those set aside in those federal agencies, and where the programs are set up, they are looking to meet the goals that are set in those specific certification categories. Now, it would be great if we had enough business types where we didn't have to certify. For DBE, we work a lot with the DBE. Prime contractors need to meet goals on projects with DBE firms. we have a lot of DBE firms, but also there's a need for DBE firms who can really perform on highway projects, whether it's construction or consultant services. And a lot of times there's a lot of service businesses that will probably never participate. So we want to increase that pool. So you want to have that pool increased of those certified firms.
Okay, all right, thank you. So it sounds like we need a strategy. If you're going for public business, private business, you need to have a strategic plan or something in place. So you know you're just not haphazardly going after the certifications, kind of like to Tiffany and Lenore's point. You are strategic about what you're going after because we have a finite amount of time, right? Keith?
I'll piggyback off what Lisa said, what I said earlier. I mean, the opportunities are there. And you get your name in the hat. You know, it's a pool. I mean, your company becomes listed on the website, and contractors or services, you know, can reach you.
Sure.
So just like put your name in the phone book.
All right, thanks.
What I would add is that for Cuyahoga County and most government entities, in order for you to do what is considered race and gender conscious initiatives where you have an MBE program or a WBE program, you have to have a disparity study. And part of that disparity study is they look at what's available in the market. So you need to be participating and active in the market so then we can show based on a certain government entity's utilization that is not representative of the market. And then for those businesses that do get certified in those categories, then we have the opportunity to set goals and have good faith efforts to provide inclusion and equity opportunities for them to participate. So again, you do need to be strategic. As Lisa mentioned, we are in some areas we're very heavy, and then there are areas that I can't even set a goal because I don't have enough people certified to justify setting a goal, because again, as a government entity, there's a tax base and you can't do what they call harm by meaning set a goal and there's not anyone certified in those categories, and you're almost like
Sure.
handpicking, or if there's, you know, there's not a competitive market there.
Sure.
So we need that participation in order to keep the process going and to justify the effort to be more inclusive and provide those goals.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, I definitely understand, and I did listen to the council's meeting in regards to the disparity study and some other things, so that was very informative. Tiffany?
All right, Chris, I want to kind of like take it from the top. Here's what I heard you say.
Okay. I heard me say.
I heard you say. Just loosely, you said that certification is hard. You said the certification process is hard.
Can be.
Can be hard.
Can be.
Can be hard. I love that.
Okay.
Can be hard. And the reason why I like that you said can be is because of the fact that I think that all of my colleagues will agree. When we work with small businesses, we would sit down with them.
Yeah.
We would go to their office, they can come to our office, we have to sit down with the computer with them and work with them on that application. So it is, and it can be a tedious process, but we will work with that individual company to work on the application for them. At the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, we have, well, I guess a loose reciprocal certification. So if you're certified with the county or the city of Cleveland or something like that, another agency, I should say, it's easier to become certified with the city of Cleveland. So I'm speaking kind of quickly to get to another point. The other two more points, sorry, I don't want to be long-winded, but the other point that I want to make is that when we talk about certification, we talk in a language that we know. Right? We talk about MBE, WBE, DBE, and things like that. And typically the audience don't have a clue what we're talking about, right? And so it's kind of like, okay, what is MBE? And then just generically, what does it mean to become certified, right? So I'm just taking it a few steps back. And it's like, okay, why do I want to become certified? What does that mean? And to be certified with the Regional Sewer District, and going into your question, is to say that in order to be a subcontractor on one of our construction contracts, you must be certified. And that means that we will come out to your office, do what is called an on-site visit if necessary, and meet with the owner and things like that. Your name goes, just real generic, goes into our database. Once your name is entered into our database along with other companies, then you have the opportunity to be a subcontractor on the project, okay? That's just a really generic way of looking at it. The other thing is, and as far as answering that question is, why become certified, is because at the very least, it's free advertisement, like Keith said, and it's name recognition.
Yeah.
People come and they say, hey, Lenora, Carl, Tiffany, have you heard of this company? Well, no, I never heard of that company before. Or yeah, I heard of them before. So if nothing else, it's name recognition, and you throw your hat in the ring, opposed to just not being in the law. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the time isn't valuable, but.
So I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm glad I clarified, right?
Thank you.
Because truly what it is, and there's a checklist. And so it's not, I wouldn't say it's difficult per se if you don't have the resources, office resources, to get your birth certificate and all of the checklists that they require, right? And there's different requirements for state, local, federal, right, certifications. Then it does take a little bit of time to gather those things while you're still trying to get the lights on.
Yeah.
So I think that was was my reason for saying it. And so I have another thought, but Carl, I'm shooting it right to you.
Well, Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority is a unique animal. And I would say that is because we are a partner. Okay, we're a partner agency, certified agency under the Department of Transportation, Ohio Department of Transportation. So when you say, companies, why get certified, when my office actually set a minority goal on the procurement, that is an opportunity. If you are certified DBE, because we only have the DBE program, that gives you opportunity to bid as a prime, but also give you opportunity to come in as a sub, because when a prime contractor comes in, they have to fulfill that goal by adding, contacting the subcontractor. But if they're unable to fulfill that goal, then they have to utilize the good faith effort process. The good faith effort process is approved by an office, and you have to make sure that you are ready, willing, and able. Okay, and we hold them accountable. So when a prime contractor come in and say that they cannot, there are no DBEs, because we get this question a lot. There are no DBEs to perform this service. Well, when I set the goal on this procurement, I've already identified in the scope. I don't just look at one item. I'll look at the entire scope and make sure that the DBEs are ready, willing, and able to participate on that. So that is the reason why I was saying, get certified. That's one of the benefits, because you can come in and bid as a prime. Now, if you exceed $400,000, then yes, we require you to have another subcontractor participate as a DBE. But if you are a DBE and the contract is $400,000 or less, you can self-perform at 100%.
All right, well, thank you for that.
Chris,
Yes.
just one other thing I thought about, we talked the DBE, which is a federal program. ODOT is still a state of Ohio agency. The Minority Business Enterprise for the state of Ohio is a set-aside program. And each agency is supposed to have a 15% spend with MBE firms. So a lot of the contracts, for example, ODOT, there are contracts that are just set aside for only MBE firms to bid on. So there's another opportunity that you're bidding amongst your peers with those MBE on the state procurement side.
Okay. Thank you for adding that, Lisa. It's so what I think I heard everyone say is that if you just don't want to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then you need to get certified, and you need to become known to some of the agents, right? So that they know who you do, what you do, and be able to recognize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say that is Keith, that is Chris, right? And so to me, that sounds like that's relationship driven. So even though this is the public sector, you still have to create relationships, because it's how business is done, right, with different agencies. Okay, all right. You know, are we all in agreement with that? Okay, well, thank you. All right, I want to make sure my ears and be able to regurgitate that properly there. The next question we have is, I am fairly new to business and I'd like to get a government contract. Will I be disqualified because I haven't been in business a long time? And why is that important? And we can go, we don't have to go in order. Please select whoever feels person to say it. Okay, Tiffany, please.
I'll take that. Well, you know, at the sewer district, we once had a year requirement, meaning that the firm had to be in business for at least 1 year. We no longer have that requirement. So if a firm has been in business for under a year, they can come get certified with us. The thing that we would ask for is invoices or contracts to show that they can do that type of work that they're seeking certification in. So, you know, I know that other entities may have different.
Okay, I know that has changed because it was at least a year.
Yeah, we do see that.
So, okay, it's good to know.
Okay. I will echo what Tiffany stated, but to answer the question directly, no. Okay, because we have a small business participation plan, and we have the DBE program, but we have a small business participation plan. And that is, you know, that is open to all small businesses that can come into GCRT that could participate on our contracting opportunities. So we don't just say, you know, you're disqualified. No, you can come in. We treat you the same way through our small business participation plan. The only caveat behind that is if you're not a certified DBE, when there is a minority goal set on the procurement, then there is a DBE requirement that has to be fulfilled.
Okay. Lenore.
Thank you. I would like to piggyback on the previous comments. First, we still do for the certification require 1 year of experience. That's still our current requirement.
Okay.
But also, like Carl mentioned, you as a business, if you submit and can meet the requirements of the specifications for the RFP, RFQ, then you can submit for that opportunity with the county.
Okay.
So some of the RFPs and RFQs might have a license requirement. For instance, if you're an engineering firm, you would have to be, which that obviously might build in some experience there. But for being certified, there still is that 1 year. So if we have a goal, you will not be able to meet that goal until you have met the certification requirements.
Okay.
But it is still only a year. It's not a significant amount of time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else wanted to?
I'll just echo,
Lisa.
and Carl has said it for DBE, it is no, you do not have to be in business a year. But when you've been in business less than a year, you will have some type of experience of that business that you're trying to become qualified or become DBE certified in. I would say on the state side, though, for MBE and EDGE, minority business enterprise and encouraging diversity, growth, and equity, you must be in business a year before you can apply for those two certifications. So again, on the state side, the MBE allows you to participate mainly goods and services for the state, where the EDGE is more construction opportunities with the state.
Keith?
I'm sorry.
Oh, did you have something?
No. Go ahead.
I think what's important to the audience is having tax returns, having your previous tax returns. I mean, you really, I mean, just coming off the street to be a business, whatever. I mean, you got to show some type of equity, you know, tax returns, you know, financials, whatever that you're operating to come through the door. So, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, and my other thought I wanted to say, you know, you've been in business less than a year. Are you even ready to do business with a government entity? Do you understand how they pay? Do you have your checking or your back-end office environment set up that you're ready to deal with a government entity? It's different than private pay. So if you don't understand that, that might be a barrier for you. That if you are going out and do get a contract, you may not be able to perform because of even just the back office things that you do not have in place. So, you know, not only being ready on the business side, being able to provide those skills or those services, but also in your back office, are you ready to work with a government entity?
That's a very interesting point, Lisa, and the rest of the panelists. Thank you. So what's interesting is I remember my years way back when LTV, and one of the things LTV used to always say, diversify your customer base. So you don't want to be 100% of anything, right? So because I think what that does, that determines cash flow, right? And so you might want, you know, some commercial customers, some residential customers where, you know, they're paying right when the job is complete versus a net 30, 60, or 90 scenario. You're right. So diversifying your customer base might give you some advantages as well. Those are strategies we try to help you with NAMC. Another thing that I really started thinking about is, as everybody was talking, was what do you do when, what did I read? I read something that Representative Sykes out of Akron had proposed some legislation to where if you receive this state certification, it would kind of grandfather you into all the local, you know, city and states. So one of the things we talked about, having a small resource in your company where you'd have to get certified for City of Cleveland, Columbus, Akron, Dayton. And so trying to streamline some of those things might be helpful as well. And so what's your thoughts on something like that?
I'll start. I've heard those conversations where the small business owners are saying, we're filling out the same paperwork for MBE, DB, you know. So why can't we just do one application? Some of it comes down to understanding the needs of that agency. The agency, particularly I'll speak on the federal level, all your documentation that you submit is part of a record or a file. If anything would happen with that DBE firm and they wanted to go to Federal Highway and Federal Highway says, okay, send me that file. Everything that you've submitted over the years is going to be included in that file. If there's a way that the state and the feds can work together to make sure that every entity, all the paperwork is approved and everybody's happy, then that could potentially work. And I think, again, the business owners don't see that back piece of it. They only see that I'm busy, I'm doing the same paperwork over and over again. Why can't we? Okay. So the push is coming from the one end. That's where the education piece really needs to come in. It's the requirements of the various agencies and what they need.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just wanted to add to Lisa's comment, is that, for instance, with Cuyahoga County, we've been doing, under the new government structure, a disparity study every 5 years. So we did a study in 2014, and we had just had a recent study submitted in the fall of 20. The point I want to make about that is that when they look at your market and what you're participating in, they have to look at like 75% to 85% of your market to determine what is your economic market based on the categories of the goods and services that you're buying. That market can change. For example, in our 2014 study, it included the Akron-Canton for that market. That analysis said it was the Akron-Canton market. Now, based on the current 2020 study, it is the Cleveland MSA market, which does not include Akron-Canton. How does that relate to the statewide certification? So based on our program, we have to make sure our program, the race and gender conscious component of our program, we have to make sure that it's narrowly tailored to the disparity study. So the initiatives that we implemented off the 2014 disparity study had a geographic market that we could certify MBEs, WBEs within that market. Now, based on the 2020 study, our market for MBE, WBE certification is the Elyria, Cleveland MSA, which includes Elyria. So again, even if we accept the state's application, we will only be able to certify for goal setting those that are within that geographic market. So there's still gonna have to be some type of requirements. Yes, we can reduce the paperwork, but that doesn't mean every MBE in, for instance, in Lisa's market would be eligible for our MBE goals in our current market.
Okay, that's clear. Anybody else want to answer any of that, or?
I just want, echo what Lisa has stated, regarding the DB, which is on the federal side. Companies have to understand that, on the federal side, the certification process is not lengthy, but is just in detail. And with the detailed information, it's a benefit for them. Because when my certification specialist, Diana Jones, when she comes and she starts asking questions, they may assume or think, well, she's bothering me. No, she's protecting you.
Sure.
She's gathering the documentation what's required, and when she consistently call you and ask you for multiple documentation because you haven't submitted certain documents, it's for your benefit. So we are here not as a bottleneck, we're here to service you. You're a customer, and we're here to make sure that your certification is locked down, sealed tight. So when you come and you get certified, you're able, ready, willing, able to participate on any contract that GCRT has.
That's very true there, Carl. And I have received a few phone calls from Ms. Diana, which she has been super helpful, and we lean on her as well. So thank you, Diana. Thank you, Carl, for adding that. We have a question, so I'm veering off our questions. This is from the studio audience, and this is directed to Lenora, but anyone can answer it afterwards, please. The question is, where do you see more need for MBE participation, and where is it lacking?
That's a great question. One of the things that we're finally implementing that I'm excited about is that we're going to actually do a 24-month forecast of what the county is going to purchase. The benefit of that, now that's considered race and gender neutral because it's not geared to, we're just telling everyone in advance what we're planning to buy the next 24 months. And based on that, we're going to see and show what we're planning to buy so that way we can say to a business, if you provide these goods and services, here's the opportunity and why you need to get certified, because this is an opportunity coming down the line. The other good component is that we have a small business set-aside program where we can look at what we're going to purchase and say we want small businesses to compete against this opportunity. But one of the requirements when the legislation was introduced in 2016 was that we had to put forth criteria on how we were going to select those small business set-aside opportunities. And one of the criteria is that we need to have at least 2 or 3 small businesses certified, because again, if we're limiting the pool of competition to those that are currently certified as small businesses with the county, we have to make sure that we're still balancing the need to have a full and open competitive market for those goods and services to leverage the benefit, the value to the county taxpayers. So I'll have a better answer on more specifics, but I can tell you certain areas. For instance, we're going to have a better idea on IT, information technology. If we're buying hardware, software, a lot of times I have bids and proposals are submitted, and they said I couldn't find anyone. No one was available. They did not respond. Another area might be, for instance, but that I'll bring the industry up, but it's pretty much there's only 4 main businesses. That's the elevator industry. We have a lot of buildings. There are a lot of contracts that we have to maintain these elevators. We have a significant contract, but there's a limited market of small businesses that work in that area.
Sure.
So we're hoping as we put out this 24-month forecast and we analyze that forecast for small business possibility, that we can have a better way of saying, hey, we don't have enough participation here. Here are opportunities. These are areas that would be viable.
Okay. So that's an interesting question. Man, it's I left my pen at the table there, so I can't even write my thoughts down. But one of the things I do remember is that even in the procurement section, different agencies kind of work a little differently. Some, they want you all to come to procurement for all your buying goods and services needs. And then there's other agencies that say, okay, we have the project owners are at this satellite office or at this, and so you can go to that project manager or supervisor that is at, West 65th or something, and go straight to them and work on some options. Is that something, even like with purchasing, they might have a credit card, area where they can have $5,000 spent or something,
Cuyahoga County, we do have a hybrid purchasing system.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a centralized purchasing department, but they handle and assist with all procurements over 50,000. And then the informal process is initiated and handled mainly by the departments, which is 30+ departments. And that's a good opportunity because they have a shorter advertisement period, and there's usually a less onerous process because it's a smaller dollar value.
Okay.
So there's not as many. There could be insurance requirements, but obviously it's not as comparable to a 2 or 3 million. So it's kind of like everyone on the panel said. You kind of have to be strategic about the agency, which ones are providing business services, and what procurement methods are applicable.
So, man, I'm only halfway done. I just got a 10-minute warning, and there's about 10 more questions. So listen, let's see. I'm gonna cut straight to the beat here. So what if I don't have, because a lot of things are based on past performance. What if I don't have a past performance on other government contracts or working in public sector? How can I position my company where I still want to do some work? How do I get the experience, right? If I don't have experience, I'm at McDonald's. How do I get it? How do I become an experienced cashier or construction worker?
Okay, I'll take that one. When you talk about subcontracting, the experience or the illness is typically on the prime contractor. Okay, so the prime contractor is the one that the owner in my case would be the regional sewer district, is going to look at for the experience, the bulk of the experience. Then it trickles down, if you will, and then the owner of that project will say, hey, prime contractor, show me your experience. Show me the projects that you work with in the public and private sector and so forth. Show me your staffing and all that stuff. Then the prime contractor can say the same type of thing to the subcontractor, but in all reality, the prime and the owner is working on the experience. The prime contractor can be, they can say, hey, I'm willing to take a risk on this new company and bring them into the fold and maybe take them on as a mentor protege type of relationship or something like that and say, I want to take this company on as new. But typically, the prime contractor is the one who has to show that they have this experience and background. But another thing that I want to say as it relates to certification, that kind of like something that Lenora, that you guys talked about earlier, there's different ways that you can do business with the regional sewer district, and I'm sure with the other agencies as well. Certification is one way, and with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, the certification typically goes in place with subcontracting, and that's on a construction contract. You become a subcontractor, and that's where your certification goes into play that way. However, if you don't become certified with the regional sewer district, there are smaller jobs that you can be awarded. We do have projects that are under 50,000, and they're not always in the area of construction. We do professional service contracts. We do organizational development contracts. We do human resource contracts. We do all other kind of contracts as well. A lot of people don't look or think about the regional sewer district when it comes to professional service contracts. We do goods and services and things like that, lapel pins, whatever, other type of products that we procure as well. So there are some, I don't want to necessarily say low-hanging fruit, but they're not the multi-million-dollar contracts that people can receive that doesn't require subcontracting, and they also could be, in that case, they would be considered a prime. So let's say, for example, if there was an organization out there that was, a company out there that's a small business, really small shop, maybe an owner and a couple of employees out of their own home. And that's another thing that I think that small businesses think that they have to do, you know, start out the gate. Oh, I have to have some type of land, real estate somewhere, you know. You don't have to do that. Diana can attest to that, right? You can have a home-based business, and I think that's the smartest thing to do when you're starting out the gate. Have a home-based business, and you know, if you see an RFP or a bid, typically in this case, when they're smaller dollar amounts, they typically are RFPs. And RFPs means request for proposal. And you submit your request for proposal saying, this is the type of work that I can do that you're seeking. Okay, the Regional Sewer District, Callaway County, RTA, or ODOT. What you're seeking, I can do, and then that organization will look at that. And they can say, okay, yeah, or they can tweak that, you guys can go back and forth, but I just want to make that clear that, at least for the Regional Sewer District, and I'm probably sure with RTA as well, I can't speak for Carl, but I'm sure that there are other procurement opportunities outside of construction.
Okay, so you bring up a valid point. Tiffany, you talk about the micro projects, right? Like 5 to 50,000. Yeah. So every agency has a threshold that before it goes out to a larger sector, you know, that there's a smaller sector that is a little easier for the newer vendor to actually work through, right? And so sometimes those are strategies. And so, but everything that we've said, it still comes down to, how do I put it? I don't want to sound too crazy. Really learning how to date your customer. Really, it's got to be a push-pull, right?
Let me just speak to that for a second. You know, I think that, again, I can't say this enough. With my colleagues up here, we will work with the small companies. I think that there's a lot of intimidation sometimes on the part of a small business owner, not knowing who to talk to. You know, kind of like, if need be, hand-holding. We have to hold your hand, we'll do so to make sure that you get to the point where you need to be. The most satisfying and rewarding thing for me is when I have a company and I see that they took the steps that needed to be taken, such as Carl mentioned, going to the pre-bid meetings, you know, and reaching out, having these meetings with different people, meeting with myself or my boss or someone like that, even higher than me, you know, if you need to meet with our CEO, if that's what you need to do or feel as though is required to get in front of the people that you need to get in front of. And again, this is why this is called, what is it called, contracting with government agencies. That means we work for you, right? And so you need to schedule a meeting with us so we can teach you, in short, how to do your homework. You know, come down and look at previous contracts, come down and look at previous bids, get that information before, like I think Keith spoke to this, like you don't want that big contract. You don't want it, and I've seen
not early on. You want to start.
You want to shoot yourself in the foot. I know we've all seen that over and over again. We're like, no, don't do it. But it looks great. I probably would want to do it as well. But the thing is that you want to do your homework. We'll show you how to do it if you don't know how to do it. We'll give you all the things that you need, all the tools, all the resources. And if that still don't get you where you need to go, come back to us and say, hey, what did I do wrong?
Sure.
And we'll tell you, okay, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that. And then maybe you'll be successful the next time out.
Okay, Carl?
I'd just like to add that in our process, we have learned to do business. And I will say, Tiffany spoke on it. Danielle Bennett, Brandon Agnew, and Diana Jones. My team, as far as customer service, we get multiple calls pertaining to how to do, and we walk every customer through the process. And to learn to do business, you know, we have is where they come in and they meet with my team, and they also meet with the procurement team, whether it's construction, whether it's professional services, whether it's fleet. You meet with this team for 1 hour. No time is required. Because of COVID, it has been eliminated. But once we return, it's designated, it's on the website, and you're able to come in for that 1 hour. No appointment is necessary, and meet and sit down and talk with that contract administrator and receive the contracting opportunities that's ready, willing, and able that they can participate on. And my team is present there, and from that meeting, if they are still unsure, we will take them up to our office and we will have a sit-down conversation and we will walk them through the process so they thoroughly understand that we are here for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think I've been probably to everybody's offices, right? Because I needed the help. So I was like, dude, I need some help. What do I need to do? And I'm not afraid to ask for help.
No, you're not.
You know what? I think Ron Todd said it earlier. He said, you got to humble yourself, right? And so while we might be experts in whatever we do in our wheelhouse, humbling yourself. Here, I'm here to work.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm here sitting here next to you. Yes. You know what? Please, what do I need to do, right? Because I like to keep the lights on. And so not only that, now you want to move to thriving. And then I like to be able to pass the baton because, like I said, I worked with Keith's grandfather. So at one point, at some point, I like to be able to sit down and pass this on to a legacy. So I think that's very important with that. I'm getting the high sign, so.
Just real quick, I ditto everything that Tiffany and Carol has said. ODOT's Office of Outreach will work with you. I've heard Mentor Protege mentioned,
Sure.
but also there are other businesses that have been in existence for quite some time who are successful. Call them up, ask for a half hour for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You would be surprised at the business owners that will sit down with you and give you some good information that will help you along the way. ODOT does their symposium, we have various panels, we'll have our small businesses there, and they'll say, if somebody wants more information, reach out to me. So look at that other network that's out there of business owners. They don't have to be in the same business, but very similar, and they'll give you, you might even get a mentor there.
Yes, that's very true. And you're right, it comes down to relationship. But you can't be afraid to ask. And so even if you're an introvert, you got to still step out of that shell and say, look, I need some help. Can you mentor me? Can you sponsor me? What do we do? And you're right, people do that. Tiffany, do you have something to say?
Oh, no.
Okay. Keith?
Pre-pandemic, these agencies always put on outreaches. And I suggest if we ever get back to that point, if it's an outreach, please attend. Because again, that's where your networking, coming is involved. I mean, you meet the owners, you're going to meet Primes that's going to be there. You'll meet myself. Because I'm going to be there regardless and continue to support the programs, these very programs, because it supports me. So that's all
Our office did pivot as far as our program, so we have been offering something every month virtually. So Office of Outreach, ODOT, we continue to provide business development. So yes, we are still doing that, and it's done virtually.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I remember traveling around to different outreach areas and shaking his hand. It was almost like I was running for public office. But I wanted, and it takes time, for people to know you, right? I think it took 6 months before, they said, hey, that's Chris. That's Chris House. How do we keep going? So I am going to turn it over. I want to thank everyone again. Keith, I want to thank you for picking this theme and this subject matter. And I want to thank all the esteemed panelists for really sharing all your thoughts, your experience, and your nuggets, because we know you didn't have to do this. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was a great panel discussion. I learned a lot. I need to be going to get certified and some things, and I know that I have my friends at the table that will assist me. So we want to thank you out there for participating in our 5th Level Up session. Our next session, we're going to do something different. It's going to be in-person meet and greet on June 24th from 5 to 8 p.m. We're calling it our June Jamboree. And that is going to be at A Touch of Italy in Bedford Heights, 23333 Aurora Road. And please, we want you to come. We want you to learn more about NAMC Northern Ohio Chapter, our membership benefits, participate in a 50-50 raffle, and there might be some other prizes. And we want you to meet successful minority business owners. So this is a way to network. This is a way to build relationships. And you know what Chris and everybody here has said, it's all about relationships. So please join us June 24th. This information will be on our website soon, and we hope to see you there. I also want to encourage you out there on Facebook Live and YouTube Live to consider joining NAMC and tell a friend. Please follow us on social media. And if you would like to see or would like to be a sponsor at one of our events, please feel free to contact me or our president, Arian Kirkpatrick. Lastly, we would be amiss if we did not thank our key platinum sponsors for our fantastic event today. We'd like to thank the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, First Energy Foundation, the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority for hosting our event, and Low-Key Entertainment for providing technical assistance for the session. Thank you again, and we'll see you June 24th in person at A Touch of Italy in Bedford Heights on Aurora Road. Have a great day.